Thank God for Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, because the Eagles, they go out and try to win, while in Dallas, they are literally sabotaging their own season, and they have set up their franchise quarterback to be the fall guy, while the Eagles and Howie Roseman get ready for one more big move. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Dingbat here, and thank God for Jeffrey Lurie. Thank God for Howie Roseman, because at least with them, I know that they want to win. They may make mistakes. There's no doubt about that. But at least I know in their heart, they want to win, and they'll do everything they can to do it. Meanwhile, in Dallas, the ownership, the front office, is about to sabotage the Dallas Cowboys season, and they have set up, on purpose, their franchise quarterback to be the fall guy, to blame it all on him. It is unbelievable. Dallas Cowboys are sabotaging their season, and Howie Roseman is telling everybody there's a big move still to come. Just wait. So you gotta love the Philadelphia Eagles and what they're doing. We're gonna get into that in a second. But before we do that, there's two other things I want to talk about really, really quick. And the first thing is the game in Brazil week 1. The Eagles will be playing in Brazil week 1 on a Friday. I absolutely hate it. I've explained 1,000 times why I don't like it. Well, it turns out not only will the game be on a Friday, but you'll have to have Peacock, the NBC Peacock app, to watch the game. It will be exclusively on that. And to me, I think I hate these games on these apps now, because it's not like it's just one app you have to have and then you get all the games. It's like this app, that app, you have to have Peacock, you have to have Paramount. It's like they're forcing people to go out and get all these different apps. I think it sucks. Now, me personally, I have Peacock because I watch old ECW and WWF, Attitude Era type wrestling back in the day. I hate today's wrestling. Don't follow it. But back then, I thought it was interesting. And they have some of the old wrestling on there. So I do have it for that. But, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be on Peacock. I still hate that we're playing Brazil. And it looks like it's going to be the Browns or the Packers that we play. I prefer that it be the Browns and not the Packers. I think the Packers is a big game, and you want to be actually in Philly when that game takes place. So it is what it is. The other thing is, you guys have seen, they have changed the kickoff rule. Instead of doing what they have normally done our whole lives, they're going to change it around, make it more like the XFL. And I got to be honest with you. When it first was announced, I hated it. But sitting back thinking about it, I really hate when they changed the rules for the kickoff to begin with. When they moved the ball up 10 yards, I believe it was 10 yards, not 15, but they moved it up, and every kickoff is out of the end zone now. It's like a waste of time. I say try it for a year, see if we like it. See how it works. At least we'll get some action. We'll get some tackling and running the ball out. It's like a mini kickoff. So if they want to go ahead and do it, all right, that's cool. I'm fine with it. You might as well. But it's going to be interesting. Now, as you guys also know, we have the ownership meetings going on this week. Howie met quietly with the media yesterday. Nick Sirianni met with the media today. Jeffrey Lurie met with the media today. And really, it's all standard stuff, the same old stuff that you kind of think you're going to hear. But there was one thing that I found interesting. One thing that Jeffrey Lurie made me find very interesting, and I think this is kind of a signal that Haason Reddick could still very well be back in Philly. I have hope that that's what it means, because as I've said, I don't want to get rid of him. Word on the Birds wrote this, and this was a quote by Jeffrey Lurie on Haason Reddick in a situation. He says, "He's, by the way, a terrific player, a great person, great background in Philly. It'll play itself out in a very good way." To me, that statement, in a very good way, thinks that Jeffrey Lurie thinks it may work out in Philly, because That's what I think the Eagles want probably deep down, and I think that's probably what Haason Reddick wants. So this gives me some hope that Haason Reddick may actually be back in Philly, and we could put all this talk about second-round picks, which we won't get, and third-round picks, and we could put it all to bed, which is really what I want to do. The Eagles try to win, and they're going to do everything they can to put the best players on the field. And I believe that includes Haason Reddick, who, by the way, is already under contract. But don't you find it interesting? Don't you find it really interesting how the Eagles treat their players compared to the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, we're talking about Haason Reddick. The Eagles are trying to figure a way to work a contract out. There's no doubt in my mind, if the Eagles trade him, a lot of why they trade him is because they're doing what Haason Reddick wanted to do. They're trying to help him out. And if they keep him, there's no doubt in my mind they won't restructure. So at least he has, more money, a little more straddle this year. Meanwhile, in Dallas, the Dallas Cowboys are basically, in my opinion, setting themselves up for sabotage. They're setting themselves up to fail. Okay, get this. Ian Rappaport wrote this. The Pound Cowboys and quarterback Dak Prescott have a mutual understanding of his contract situation. Sources say with no offers from Dallas, despite him being in a contract year. Owner Jerry Jones said, "We are where we are, locked and loaded for this year. No indication that a deal is coming." Okay? This sounds like Dak Prescott is gone. He is gone at the end of the year. And it sounds like Dallas has no interest in signing him. And let's be honest, if the Cowboys really wanted to sign Dak Prescott, they would have gone out there and they would have restructured before free agency happened so they could have had $20-something million in cap space. But they didn't. They didn't care about it. And it's so funny to me because the Eagles and the Cowboys, totally different ownerships, totally different type of attitudes with the front office. The Eagles want to win. The Eagles have done everything to try to get better, try to win. Now, you could argue and say, well, I don't like the Saquon signing, and I don't like the Bryce Huff signing. But you can't deny that the Eagles are out there trying to win. They're trying to win. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys, they are basically telling Dak Prescott, take a hike, okay? And they didn't restructure his contract so that when it goes bad and people say, well, what happened to your team? They're going to say, well, we had no cap space. Dak was $59 million against the cap, and he didn't want to restructure. I have no doubt about it, no doubt. They are going to put that on him as being a selfish player, as not wanting to restructure. And if you're Dak Prescott and you go into the final year, at that point, you might as well become a free agency because you're going to get a lot of offers. You want to make Dallas have to pay. So, to me, what's going on in Dallas is absolutely insane. It is absolutely insane. And listen, I actually understand the Cowboys. I understand why you might want to get rid of him. He doesn't win in the playoffs. He's a choker. There's no doubt about it. Minnesota had enough of it with Kirk Cousins. I get it. Totally 100% get it. However, if you feel that way, okay, why would you have him one more year and not try to win it all right now? Like, if they know this is Dak's last year, why are they not trying to win it all? One more shot with Dak before we make the quarterback switch. All you have to do is restructure his contract. You don't have to add years. You could just restructure so you could get some cap space and go out and get people. They didn't do it on purpose. They didn't do it on purpose. And listen, I can't even troll the Cowboys. This isn't even a troll job. All right, I'm not even trolling. I'm just being honest. If I was a Dallas Cowboy fan, I'd be pissed off. Seriously, I would, because your ownership has sabotaged your season. They used Dak Prescott's cap hit on purpose to not sign anybody in free agency. They did, and they did it So now they can put that on Dak. You got people out there that are going to say Dak Prescott's selfish, Dak Prescott doesn't want to restructure, and Dak Prescott is the reason we didn't win. Don't you find it funny that all these allegations of that Dak is going through now off the field happen right before contract? This is what happened to Des Bryant. This is what happened to Zeke Elliott, and now it's happening to Dak Prescott. And the only reason and the only thing that makes sense to why this is happening is what Dan Sileo said yesterday. I was on his show, and this is what he said. He said he talked to Michael Irvin, and Michael Irvin believed. And I don't know, listen, I don't know if this is happening or not, but it at least makes sense. But he was saying that Michael Irvin believed that Dallas wants Shedeur Sanders, that they want him, and they want to draft Shedeur Sanders, and they're setting themselves up to do it. And they're not going to be as good as they could be or try to go out and win everything because they're setting themselves up to do it. And, you know, there's still details of that, of how they're going to pull that off. I don't know. But Dan was saying this is what Michael Irvin told him. This is what Irvin believed, that they want Shedeur Sanders. And not only do they want Shedeur Sanders next year, they want to actually possibly make Deion Sanders the head coach. That's what they're doing. Well, at least on some level, that makes sense. But at the same time, why not just trade Dak then? Just trade him. Like, seriously, just trade him now. What are you doing? The Dallas Cowboys are so stupid, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, really, we could talk about, well, the Eagles made this mistake. The Eagles made that mistake. But at the end of the day, the Eagles, they actually try to win. They actually try to go out and get players to win. And I am thankful to be an Eagle fan. And I think Dallas Cowboys, I think they're in for a really, really ugly season. It all went to hell when Mark Holmes started looking for Super Bowl tickets before the Packers-Cowboys game. That's the truth. When he started laughing about Jordan Love, it all went to hell, and it has been only worse. But for me, from an Eagles perspective, I'm just thankful, man. I'm thankful we got the owner we got the GM we got, and that GM has got big moves planning, and we're going to talk about that in this next video because that's a whole video upon itself. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, of course. Don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision, baby. We're all just living in it. Unless you're 9,006 years old like Jerry Jones, because it's his birthday today. Happy birthday. He's 9,007 years old. The guy's 9,008 years old. Happy birthday. You know, if I was to bet, right, I've told you guys, I would like a corner. You know, I really am leaning towards wanting that in the first round. But that doesn't mean I think that's what the Eagles are going to do. In all honesty, the more I think about it, if I was a betting man, I have to decide or bet what position the Eagles draft. I really think they're going to draft. I think we could very well see the Eagles draft an offensive lineman. They very well could draft an offensive tackle. And matter of fact, if I could bet it, I'm probably going to bet that. Because the more and more I think about it, the more that's the Eagles' total tight move. Now, do I think that's what they should do? It depends on how good the player is. There's a lot of different ways that the Eagles could go in this draft, and I know Howie Roseman has big plans up his sleeve. So we'll see. It should be interesting. Denzel Washington out.